All right, guys, what's going on? It's Jack, and welcome back to another video. And today I wanted to talk about kill streaks in XDefiant. And yes, I do believe that there is definitely room for streaks in this game, but not exactly the way you think. And I have a proposition, and I think it would fit very well with this game. And I think a lot of players would actually take quite a liking to it, and it's only going to enhance the gameplay even more. And it's basically a solution to the whole kill streak problem to a certain extent without forcing or incentivizing people to camp. As a matter of fact, it will be the opposite. And it's going to also be an alternative throwback to something that we've had in the past in previous Call of Duties, but of course it's going to have its own spin, its own way to get it, and etc., etc. So it's not going to be exactly like cut and paste. And it's only going to rely on the skill of the player, and it's going to be earned per player. But first, before I tell you exactly what it is, there's rules that I've written first. Number 1, streaks reset upon death. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. You die, you start from square one. Next up, all streaks apply only to the player who earned them. Okay? So with a few of these streaks, it's very easy or in previous games, to where all teammates would have the benefit of it, but that's not going to be the case here for a couple of these streaks. It's only going to apply to the player who earned them. Simple as that. Next up, rule number 3, weapon, grenade, and melee kills and objectives count towards streaks. Now with Hot Shot, it's a little bit different. There's going to be 3 different tiers for the streak system that I have come up with this. Okay, so in the first tier, which is 4 different streaks, which I'm going to get into in a minute, for Hot Shot, it's going to be 1 tag for each tier in tier 1, 2 tags for each tier of tier 2, and 3 tags for each streak for tier 3. And then the remaining kills are going to be for something else that I don't want to spoil yet, but it's not going to have, you can't get that part with the tags. You're not going to be able to obtain that with tags. That is only going to be for guns, melee, or grenades only. Some of you might already know where I'm going with this in terms of that aspect, but I didn't want to tell you full on until the very end because it just makes sense. So anyway, let's get right into it. So in tier 1, okay, we have the first kill, which gives you the combat knife. Now, as you know in the game, it takes 2 melee shots in order to put somebody down. So when you unlock the combat knife just by getting a kill, guess what? You get, if somebody's real close to you, all you have to do is hit the melee button, wham bam, they're dead in 1 shot. You get the second kill without dying, which again, just 1 kill to earn the next one. You get increased sprint speed, which could also be very helpful, both offensively, defensively, for taking objectives. Getting that a little bit of increase of sprint speed is a big help. It's not going to be something like Hot Shot to where you're cracked all over the place, but it is a significant difference that could impact the game, especially if you are a solo player, or if you just, either whether you're a team player or a solo player, it could definitely help out a lot. The next one, the third kill without dying, would basically allow you to cap objectives faster. Okay, so let's say you're on B-Dom and you only have a limited amount of time before everybody sees you because it's B-Dom, right? So basically with B-Dom, again, and just like all the other flags in Domination, you are able to cap them at a faster pace, which allows you to go on the streaks even faster and basically incentivizes you to actually play the OBJ when you're down as well. It helps you kind of make a comeback, especially if you are a solo player. This will help quite a lot. And at the same time, it incentivizes teamwork. It's like, hey, who's on streak 3? Who's got a 3 kill streak at this point? Oh, you do? Great. Let's go cap this flag. Need I say more? And oh, one more thing. Speaking of B-Dom, well, first I want to talk about Hot Shot. In Hot Shot, the benefits are that the tags are observed from a slightly farther distance. And what I mean is, think of it as kind of like a magnet, or for those of you guys that have played Devil May Cry or games like that, to where the orbs come at you from a farther distance after you get a certain upgrade or whatnot. Think of it as that, right? Tags and Hot Shot are absorbed from a farther distance, and B-Dom, because we all know how hard B-Dom is to take, especially if you're by yourself, B-Dom is actually worth twice the benefit. So you can actually get 1 point closer to your next streak. Okay, so in the next one, in order to get your 4th kill in a row, which again only requires 1 kill for this one, and that is you ADS faster. Now, I'm not necessarily saying as fast as Hot Shot or whatnot, but you can ADS faster. Regardless of which gun you have or whatnot, you can ADS faster. It doesn't matter what gun you have, even if it's a sniper. We're not going to leave snipers out of this. We want everybody to be able to obtain the benefit. So anyway, now we're on to tier 2. Now these are going to require 2 kills for each of these streaks to activate. Okay, so at this point you need to be on a 6 kill streak for the first streak in tier 2, right? And again, without dying, right? Because everything resets and you start from square one once you die. So in tier 2, you require 2 kills to be immune to or take less damage from lethals and explosions, right? So if somebody's got a grenade right on your ass and stuff like that, you won't die, or you'll be completely immune to it. I'll leave that one up to the developers. Next up, 2 kills. Again, you'd be on an 8 streak at this point. You would be immune to or taking less damage or from passive or active faction traits, or the ones that are not lethal would have less of an effect on you, right? So that would be on an 8 gun streak at this point. Next up, we are still at tier 2, and this would be for a 10 streak at this point. And you would become immune to or taking less damage from ultimates. Okay, I think that's fair trade. You become immune to or take less damage from ultimates when you are on a 10 streak. Think about it. Getting a 10 streak is not as easy as it seems. I know that that players that are more that are more skilled are able to do it more often, but a 10 streak is not always so simple. And not only that, it won't incentivize people to camp, because look at everything else. Look at all the other abilities you have. You're not just able to take less damage from ultimates or become slightly immune to them or whatnot, or immune to, again, I'll leave that up to the devs. But again, you're also immune. You also have all the abilities you've already obtained. Okay. Now, at this point right now, we are at the last, this one here is a 12, it requires a 12 kill streak, obviously, because it requires 2 more kills. You need 1 less bullet to kill. What you get from this is you basically get stopping power, which basically gives you 1 less bullet to kill. Plus you get damage, maximum damage output from your weapons at any range, except of course for shotguns, because shotguns would be way too easy and way too freaking overpowered at this point. So I would have to come up with something else for shotguns at this point. But you guys get the deal. You get an assault rifle, let's say at its maximum damage range. Let's say it takes 3 to 4 shots. Let's say it takes 3 shots to kill. Well, guess what? If somebody's on the other side of the map and you're up to 12 streaks, guess what? You can kill that person on the other side of the map in just 3 shots. That's basically what you're doing. It's basically stopping power with maximum damage output. That's all it is. I mean, it's simple as that. It takes 1 less bullet to kill and max damage output. So let's say, so at the same time, if it takes 3 to 4 bullets to kill, guess what? You're going to kill in 3 to 2, depending on, depending on things. So, or basically you can just have max damage output or just 1 less bullet to kill. 1 or 2 of those things, but you're on a 12 streak, so I think you should get both. Anyway, moving on now, we're at tier 3, and there's only 2 streaks in tier 3. So again, you'd be at a 15 kill streak for this. So basically at 15, at 3 kills to activate, from 12 to 15, you would actually get constant enemies would be on your minimap in the form of a dot, basically UAV style, until you die. And again, only you have this ability. Okay. So, and again, it'll incentivize teamwork. So if you want to call somebody out, you could, but at the same time, if the entire team had it, it would be cheap because they didn't earn it. Simple as that. And next, at streak 18, constant enemies are on the minimap in the form of a triangle, basically Blackbird or VSAT style, until you die. And yet again, only you have this ability. And then we've got the final and only streak in tier 4, and that requires 6 kills after 18, which would get you to 24. And you guessed it, this is where you get the nuke. Now, whether or not it ends the game is completely up to the developers. I'm going to leave that up to the developers. I personally don't think it should. I personally don't think it should end the game, but that's, again, up to the devs. And another thing that I'll leave up to the devs is whether or not the player that got the nuke also dies, therefore resetting them up to 0, or they live and everybody else dies, and what ends up happening is they just continue on their rampage. I don't know. But basically, if they want to get a second nuke, they would actually have to, they already have their abilities from 1 through 18, but they would actually have to just keep going on a tear and get a regular old fashioned 24 gun streak kill. Now, I know that traditionally speaking, it's 25, but for mathematical sake, in terms of the pattern that you see here in front of you on your screen, it just kind of made sense. Plus, a lot of people like to use hardline anyway in classic Call of Duty, therefore earning it in 24 kills instead of 25. Some people that ran specialist bonus specifically had it run that way, so that way they could kind of, you know, get it a little bit easier. And, you know, when you get that high up in streaks, every kill counts, right? So, but yeah, this is basically my idea and my way of how you can implement the streak system. Now, the reason why I've put in 3 tiers, right, in terms of, you know, to get from 1 to 4 and to get all these abilities with just 4 kills in a row, was so that way the beginner could also feel rewarded for it, right? They could also do something like cap objectives faster, right? Because they're part of the team. They should be helping the team, right? So they still feel important even though they're only able to get at the most 4 kills in a row. So I wanted them to benefit from it as well. And then once you get into tier 2, you've got most players that are above average in skill level are going to be anywhere in tier 2, right? In terms of what they're able to obtain in terms of streaks before they finally end up dying. And then you've got the players that are even more skillful that are more often going to see tier 3, right? In terms to where they get to 15 to 18 kills, which is a lot. Which is pretty high up there. And then obviously 6 kills after that is reserved for the best of the best that are able to pull off a nuke. And plus, when you have all of these abilities here, think about it. By the time you get to 18, right? I mean, let's face it. If you're on, let's say you're on 6, right? Let's say you're on streak 6, right? Well, don't forget, you've got all of these abilities already from 1 to 6. You're on 12, you've got all the abilities prior to that. So again, it's not like anything is taken away from you at all. The only time things get taken away is when you die. Once you're dead, you start from 0 again. So this is basically my my little sheet and idea for the kill streak system. And I want to know down in the comment section, what do you guys think of this? Does this sound like a good idea to you? Does it sound like a bad idea to you? Does it sound like it could be something that would fit in the world of XDefiant very well? If you agree or whatever it is, spread the word. Tweet this video out. Now, I'm not trying to reach internet fame or anything like that. I'm just trying to make XDefiant a better and more fun game. If you agree with this, or this concept, right? You may not agree with everything that I put on here, but if you agree with a concept similar to this, right, that will only enhance the game, make it more fun for everybody, not just the good player, but the beginners as well, which is, again, why I've created tiers 1 through 3. So if you think this would fit in very well, if you think this will be very fun, if you think it's going to make the game better, please, by all means, spread the word and let's get this party started. And we know at this point that the developers and Mark Rubin are listening and they are open to ideas and thinking outside the box, as they've already mentioned. So if there's any chance of something like this happening, it's with these guys, which is, again, one of the reasons why I made this video. I already have a video ready made to upload the next day, but I might postpone that for an extra day because I feel that this is more important. This is more meaningful. And I also want to know the community's opinion down below. So anyway, with that being said, thank you to everyone and anyone who took the time to watch and or listen. I appreciate it, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.